So why did none of you warn me that by losing 150 pounds, I would be treated completely differently?
Hey everyone, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. So in our today's conversation, we want to talk about how people treat us when we lose weight. Some people become so friendly when we lose weight. Others, we receive so many compliments from strangers. So I've put some videos together. Kindly watch them and I'll be back to share my own thoughts. Please don't go away.
So why did none of you warn me that by losing 150 pounds, I would be treated completely differently? Because nobody mentioned that about a weight loss journey. But let me tell you, when I was 329 pounds, I was either ignored and invisible, or I was like harshly judged. And that was at least understandable. I didn't like it, I didn't enjoy it, but I understood. But now I've lost 150 pounds, and it's insane how different it is. Men will go out of their way, physically out of their way, to open doors for me or strike up a conversation with me or even like give me free stuff like at restaurants and stuff. Women, on the other hand, I will smile and be bright and bubbly and try to have a conversation with them, and I have never felt more judged in my life. Like, I think they automatically assume that I'm just bitchy or that I'm a terrible person. But like, why do we do that? Let's stop doing that, first of all. And this serves as a warning. If you're going to lose weight, just know that you're going to be treated differently. Like it or not, sadly it happens.
3 ways I'm treated differently now that I've lost 170 pounds. Number one, people are so much nicer to me. And I know I have posted about this before and you guys were like, well, maybe like you were like shy or whatever. No, when I was fat, I wanted everybody to like me. I was so nice. I was friendly, because you can't be fat and a bitch. Like you gotta pick one and you can't be both. And now that I'm skinny, people are so incredibly kind. I'm not complaining about it. I don't mind. Like, please be nice to me now and like want to be my friend and like do all these things for me. Like, whatever. I just use it to my advantage. But with that, number two, specifically the people who are nicer to me are men. Women, especially like some of my friends who knew me when I was fat and they know me now, they're not very nice. I don't know what that is, but you know, it's just part of it. And number three, and this one is huge for me, I can go to the doctor and my doctor takes my health concerns seriously now. Whereas before it was like, well, you're overweight, so like maybe that's why you're having this issue. And now when I go, it's like, oh, well, you're at a normal healthy weight, so okay, like let's do additional testing. Let's like actually look into this and see if there's something wrong with you. I understand losing weight fixes a lot of health issues. It would have been nice at some point to be taken seriously when I, instead of being told like you should probably lose weight. Please share like your experiences with weight loss and like how are you treated differently now that you have lost weight?
Things nobody talks about when you lose weight. I lost over 70 pounds. It was 230, now I'm 159. People treat you better. It's true. I get asked that so often. Do you get treated better? People nicer? Strangers nicer? Yes. And it's not even some schizophrenic shit. Like every single fucking fat person, ex-fat person that I've talked to, they say the same thing. Yeah, people are nicer. It also goes hand in hand with the fact that you face societal standards better. Societal beauty standards. I was never ugly. Never. You can't say my face was ever ugly. Fun fact, the most offensive shit that people could ever tell me when I was fat was, you have such a pretty face. Because you just fully told me, bitch, your body is bonkers. Like, that's so rude. That shit would piss me off so bad. They'd be like, yeah, your friend, she has a nice face. Yeah. Yes, partially I'm able to present myself in a different way and I'm able to be more confident in my body, and that shows. But undeniably, people treat me better now because I've lost weight. Specifically, even people that I used to not talk to, who I grew up around, who never really made an effort to talk to me or even stop to say hi to me or have a conversation with me, they've gone out of their way to try to do that in person, through message, etc., to congratulate my weight loss. And they never acknowledged my presence in real life. They managed to poke to say, congrats on losing weight. So you always saw me. I was always there. I don't think societal beauty standards are inherently a bad thing. I do think that it's kind of toxic to an extent, especially when you're experiencing both ends of it. But I have to make another video on that. There's so much I have to say about this, but I must go back to work.
Somebody recently asked me how different I get treated now that I'm 130 pounds smaller than I was the majority of my adult life. And that is a very complicated answer because there's a lot more that goes into it than just fat versus not fat. So many more things. And a lot of the times, internet isn't ready to like hear those things, but I'm a pretty self-aware person and I like to talk about the things that sometimes people don't talk about, so let's get into it. There are levels of privilege and levels of the way that people treat you when you're overweight. So being an overweight woman in America is one of the worst things that you can be, honestly. Like one of the worst stigmas. Like I think Americans are nicer to like overweight men than women, but women is like, it is the end all be, like it is terrible. However, there are things that inside of that can make you be treated a little bit better. So for one, I have a good body shape. So even though I was bigger, even when I was over 300 pounds, I have a good body shape, and that does make a difference. Like the way that your fat is distributed makes a big difference. It's sad that it does, but it does in regards to how you're treated. Number two is whether or not you have a conventionally pretty face or a conventionally skinny face, or better if both. So I have had a fluffier face in the past, but my face does not carry a lot of weight. I've always had a skinnier face and a decently pretty face. So I do believe that that brings me a level of privilege as well. Also depends on how tall you are. When you're tall, obviously you can weigh a little bit more and it distributes a little bit better. I'm almost 5'10", so I'm also tall. So I think I have 3 major privileges that go along with how people treat that kind of made that experience as being a bigger woman not as bad as like some of my friends who have those opposite experiences. But with that being said, I still got treated like trash lots of times because being a big woman, again, is like the worst thing that can happen here in America for some reason. That's like a thing. One thing I noticed is that I did constantly hear the same thing when I was bigger and now, and that is, you're too beautiful to be single. But one thing I heard back then all the time was, if you just lost a little bit of weight, you would be able to get any man you wanted. And now that I'm smaller, even though I still have a little ways to go, now that I'm much smaller, people will say things like, I don't understand, like, you're the whole package, you're everything. So like, why would you still be single? Almost like now that you've arrived there, you should have just like magically found a husband by now. It's really not how it works, pumpkin. And the thing that I hear the most from men whenever I say that I've been mistreated is, you're too beautiful to have been mistreated. Again, what? No one deserves to be mistreated. But when I was bigger, people didn't say that to me, which is wild. They would say like, I'm sorry you were mistreated, or I'm sorry that happened to you. But not very many people would say, you're too beautiful to be mistreated. And I hear that time and time again now that I'm smaller. I'll have to make a part 2 and probably part 3 to this because I want to give specific examples of how things are different. But if you have lost a significant amount of weight, tell me, how do people treat you differently? How is the dating scene different? I want to know all the things. And if you're going to be one of those people who gets like all up in arms about like the word fat, or if you're going to be one of those people who gets mad that I say that I'm cute or that I like have a good body shape or whatever, like you can just keep it moving because like I'm just an honest person. That's my opinion. You can have your own opinion. I don't care. But if you want to boost the algorithm and comment on my page anyway, go for it. Okay, bye.
Let's chat. One thing that nobody really warns you about, maybe they do, but when you lose a significant amount of weight, you get treated significantly differently. And part of you inside, I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, part of you inside is still the person that you were. So like, let me give you some context. I've lost 50 pounds since my heaviest that I've been. And I'm currently in the smallest body that I've been since high school. And what is weird is, I think it's definitely the older generation. Like I noticed it with family members that are older, that are like 50s, 60s. They still don't really know how to properly talk to somebody when they look different. And I understand, if you haven't seen me in a while, I look different. Okay, I get that. But to have the first reaction be like, you're so skinny. Oh my God, what did you do? Tell me all of your secrets. You look so good. The inside of you is still screaming that was bigger. Does that make sense? Like sorry, I've had some wine. The person that you were when you were a little bit heavier is still so much still the person that you are today. You just look different. And no one really prepares you for that because like I still look in the mirror and I still see my same self. It's really hard for me to, other than like realizing that my clothes are fitting a lot different and I had to buy new clothes, I still look in the mirror and I still see this dysmorphed version of myself because I'm not kind to myself. But having it be a topic of conversation and realizing that like love interests treat you differently, like you get more attention, it's so frustrating because the inside of you, part of you that was heavier, is still so much the same person that you're like, hi, I've been here this whole time. And it's really frustrating and it's difficult. In my opinion, it almost makes you want to like be mean to those people because you're like, why are you treating me differently now? I had the same mind I did at that time. I am different in a lot of ways. Like it took a lot of, discipline and dedication. And like I feel better in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I'm so angry that I'm like, why didn't you give that version of me a little bit more grace and attention? And then it makes you think, oh, when I walked into those rooms before, did you see me so different that now all of a sudden I'm deserving of this respect and this attention that I maybe wasn't deserving of before because I look different? And it really messes with your head, especially when it comes to like specifically male attention. If you date men, these people have been coming out of the woodworks and I'm like, excuse me, no, you secretly gave me attention when I was heavier, but now you're like really going to go after me because now I'm socially acceptable to date. And it's so frustrating and it makes me really angry. And sometimes I'm just like, no, you don't get access to me now because you weren't kind to me before. And if this is how you're treating me now and I'm getting more attention now, it tells me everything that I need to know about how you felt about me before. Both versions of myself are still very much me. And I think that's the hardest part about it. I don't know. Anyways, I had to get that off my chest.
So I have been morbidly obese for the past 10 years, and in the past year, I've lost 110 pounds. I don't really know how to describe the feeling of going from being over 300 pounds for the past decade to suddenly being closer to a normal-ish weight. I'm still very overweight and have a lot more weight I need to lose, but I definitely am a lot smaller than I have been in years. In my mind, though, I feel like I still feel like a fat girl. And part of the fat girl experience, at least my experience at the gym, is that women have actually been really nice to me. Like in general, when I was bigger, especially starting out, when I would occasionally make eye contact with other women at the gym, they would usually smile at me. I've even had a few girls come up to me and tell me, that I'm doing such a good job, that they see me being consistent and they're, proud of me and stuff like that. So yesterday I had an experience where I was in the gym and I had walked into like a weightlifting room and there was a couple in there that were doing their own thing in the corner of the room. I went to the opposite side of the room. It was a big room, but I was setting myself up to do some RDLs. I genuinely was not paying attention to this couple at all, except that I noticed they were using the bench I needed, so I was low-key waiting for them to be done with that. But all of a sudden, I see the guy start walking towards me to set up on the rack next to me. I didn't even realize that this guy was the guy that was in the couple that I had seen when I walked in the room because I wasn't really paying attention. I just thought he was a random dude. And so I was just setting up, doing my own thing, whatever. And then I noticed the girl started walking towards me and she was gonna put away her barbell she was using. But when I tell you, this girl locked eyes with me and just glared. And in my mind, I'm just like, okay, girl, message received. I am not trying to steal your mans. And again, as a fat girl in my mind, I feel like I've always been perceived as like a non-threat to other females. And so maybe that's why they've always been so nice to me. So yeah, I don't know if this girl was threatened by me because her dude was setting up next to me, but it's pretty crazy to go from feeling invisible to being seen.
If you're ever wondering if after you lose weight, if people truly treat you differently, they actually do, and it's kind of crazy. So for me, I lost 60 pounds, and most of like my childhood growing up in teenage years, I was overweight. And so I feel like people just genuinely don't take you as seriously. I'm also like kind of a goofy person. So I feel like people just kind of take you as a joke and stuff like that. And the switch up, I can tell you guys firsthand, it's crazy. Like, I remember, this was like a year ago when I had first, like, it was my first pop out after losing a bunch of weight. And I was at a party, and when I tell you, it was like, it was insane because I was with all the kids I went to high school with, and they're like, holy shit, like, Kai, like, what's your secret? Like, what did you do? You look so good, all this. And I'm just like, first of all, there's no secret. Everyone, pretty much a lot of people these days know calorie deficit to lose weight. But yeah, and it's crazy because it's like these girls I used to wish I looked like in high school are like, yo, you look so good. And I'm like,
Well, when you lose weight, something unexpected happens. People start treating you different, suddenly you get more compliments, doors are held open, and strangers smile more. It's like society gives you a stamp of approval for just being thin. People who once ignore you now pay attention. Some even act like they've just discovered your personality, when you have always been the same person. It's frightening but a little disturbing. It makes you realize how deeply society equates thinness with worthy. For some, it's a reminder that you were unfairly overlooked when you were heavier. Even friends and family might change how they interact with you. More encouraging, more interested, even more proud. As if your appearance now validates your efforts and who you are. But here is the truth. Your value didn't change your body. Their perception did. Losing weight might open doors, but it also who was only looking at the surface. The growing up isn't physical, it's the mental too. Thank you guys for being part of this conversation. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. See you in the next video and stay safe.